The topic of discussion today, how this got prompted is, Andrew, you said there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And Candace, your position was he's a patsy. Tyler Robinson is a patsy. So, of course, we'll talk about a lot of different things, but that's kind of how the whole thing got started.
What's good? What they do? This the ABN movement. Ain't broke no more. Was Tyler Robinson the shooter or a patsy? Now, I'm not coming at this debate knowing who's right. I'm actually curious and I have questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's a patsy? Like, what would I need to see to convince me that Tyler Robinson was actually the shooter? You know what I'm saying? And what would I need to see to convince me that he was set up? Andrew Wilson says the evidence points directly towards Tyler Robinson, while Candace Owens argues that Robinson was set up as a patsy. So after hearing both sides, let's see what actually holds up. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into this.
I'm that nigga.
Your claim is overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Opening statements, opening comments.
Sure. And what I mean by overwhelming is I just find it very convincing. I think that's what most people mean when they say overwhelming evidence. So I have a brief opening statement. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was murdered. Many of you already know a lot about the events which occurred after Kirk's death. You remember the ghoulish laughter, celebrations, and madness we saw from leftists all over, from TikTok invasions, debates, posts on social media, destruction of memorials, and things like this. Within weeks of Kirk's death, a cottage industry began to form, peddling various alternative theories on how he died. What special interest may have killed him, what nations were involved, and was our own government one of them? Because this was the first nationwide traumatic event in Gen Z's lifetime, the demand...
Are we really surprised that the government may be involved? Really?
For answers was severe and palpable. The leading theory from the conspiracy verse is that Israel worked with the United States government to murder Charlie Kirk. Within a day or two of Kirk's death, Ian Carroll claimed that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. And the conspiracy caught on like wildfire. This theory was built on one misleading piece of evidence. That in his final days, on around September 8th, Charlie sent a text message reading, "Jewish donors play into all stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause." This was sent in the context of a platform dispute regarding Tucker Carlson. From this scintilla of misleading information, it was speculated that Israel killed Charlie Kirk because he would have successfully opposed the Iranian war.
Why is Israel like in everything? Why is their name in everything? Why are they causing all this destruction? You know what I'm saying?
Now, that's a fun theory, and who doesn't like a good, fun conspiracy theory? I like them. But there is no evidence that Israel actually killed Charlie Kirk.
Okay.
And if Candace has some, I'd like her to actually show it to me. I'm open to suggestions, but to date, there hasn't been any. There is, however, tons of evidence that a leftist killed Charlie Kirk, just as Charlie feared they would. I believe Charlie Kirk, and I have the receipts. No, I didn't have a dream where he came to me and told me that the left killed him. No, he didn't come to me in a dream and say, Candace Owens betrayed him. That never happened. In fact, I don't need dreams of any kind because I hold in my possession and never foreseen messages from Charlie Kirk.
That means that these guys they have a good relationship. They talk to each other, they text each other, they talk about things that's happening. They have conversations regularly that makes him think that he has clear evidence that Charlie Kirk probably gave him prior information that led up to, and plus other information that he got. That's what I'm believing right now. That's what I'm getting from what he's saying, because it seems like they have a relationship. He got text messages and other kind of evidence. Let's find out.
Security team on September 9th, 2025. I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information has ever been publicly revealed. On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this, okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th.
On Andrew's open statements, it seems to me like he's saying there's convincing evidence. That's what I'm getting from it. And he has convincing evidence. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Let's go ahead and see what Candace Owens' open statements are.
Get it out of your system?
I did.
Okay, great. Well, I'm not going to waste time with the preamble because I just want to give substance to the debate.
Thank you.
And I will just speak to the audience. I've obviously had the audience.
I like
since
that, Candace.
We've been covering this case. People know that there was a personal friendship between me and Charlie, and diminishing the pursuit of something that makes sense regarding what happened on September 10th. By throwing it to, this is just people who are conspiracy theorists. These are people who are just trying to generate clicks. I don't think that people should be satisfied by that. I want people to remember that it's important to think. We've been lied to by the government a great many times.
100%.
Or, I mean, just the last couple of years, you just think of the things that we've learned about our government.
Yes.
And I do want to say this. What's been the most disturbing element, I think, for you're talking about how Israel got into the conversation, and it's because immediately after Charlie died, one of the first things we saw was this push to make us all think and remember how much he loved Israel, because the prime minister of Israel, who's fighting like a 27-front war, do a little mini tour, and to be strangely to state that I did not kill Charlie Kirk when nobody was having that thought that I can remember. Nobody was going, I wonder if Bibi Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk. And then we had a round of influencers who lied and said Charlie was not changing on Israel, that he wasn't having any disagreements regarding that topic, that the day he died, he just loved Israel so much. And I demonstrated via a text message, which you just mentioned, and you're now contextualizing and pretending it was just about Tucker Carlson, which is not true. It was a part of a broader shift that Charlie was having over the last, I would say, actually on your show it began, since October 7th, which is when I began asking myself more questions about Israel as well. And so, when all of these things happen in the immediate aftermath, and then I drop a text message after everyone is denying that, Tucker Carlson then comes out and confirms the conversations that he had with Charlie. Megyn Kelly then comes out and confirms the private conversations that she had with Charlie. People then begin to ask a reasonable question, which is, why are we lying about this? If they were forthcoming with that, and they had said, hey, Charlie was starting to ask questions. I think after October 7th, it's reasonable that people are starting to re-examine our relationship with Israel. We wouldn't be here today. But it has been lie after lie after lie, debunk after debunk after debunk. Yes, I did share that I had a dream that Charlie was betrayed. It's not a dream anymore. It's a reality. I look at what the organization has become, the people that they are partnering with, the lies that they are telling, the extraordinary people that they're sending out to say that I didn't speak to Charlie since 2018, and it begins to look like a conspiracy. And just as a historical fact, that entire term was created by the CIA to gaslight people after the assassination of JFK. So it's not exactly one that makes me nervous.
All right, so on Candace Owens' open statement, what I'm getting from it is basically it's not a one. She does have a relationship with Charlie Kirk herself. You know what I mean? So they both have a relationship with Charlie Kirk, personal relationship where they speak to him directly and have text messages and everything. Two, Candace Owens is basically saying that there was a media push and censor by Israel right after his passing. So there's the other point. Those are the open statements that I'm hearing so far. Let's go ahead and see the evidence that they both have against each other on a debate. Let's get it.
Just out of curiosity, are you between 0 to 100? What is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know, I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
That's fair.
0%?
0%.
I'm at 0.
So
what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
So not only, that maybe somebody was behind him as a patsy influencing him, you're not even saying that he didn't even shoot Charlie Kirk.
Right. If you said, was he involved that day, as I have consistently said on my platform, I would say yes, he was. I don't know what role he played, but as the shooter, 0%.
Do you have any evidence for it?
For what? My percentage?
The fact that he didn't shoot and kill Charlie Kirk.
Yes, which I'm hoping we're going to get to all the evidence that he feels that he has. I mean, I'm not even convinced that Charlie was shot from the rooftop on Losi that day, based on the evidence that has been.
Do you think he was shot?
Wow.
I do not think that Charlie was shot in 30-06 from
Yeah,
the
but just
Losi.
shot at all.
I don't know. I think that a projectile hit Charlie, and I'm open to other people's presentations, but I have not seen any compelling evidence that Charlie was shot by a 30-06.
Maybe if we're going to have an olive branch to each other, if maybe we can establish what we consider the facts of the case to be first.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, that's right.
So you're not sure if he was actually.
He's basically trying to say, she's delusional. You know what I mean? So let's get some perimeters on reality right here.
shot. You're open to alternative theories.
He was definitely hit with a projectile of some description. If we're talking about was he shot from a gun, a 30-06, I would say definitively no.
Okay.
It defies common sense to think that he had a Superman neck, and even if he did have a Superman neck, which has been demonstrated.
So basically, she believes that he was shot, but she don't know by what. That's what she's trying to argue, I guess, with that stance. She don't know if he was shot by a pellet gun, a BB gun. You know what I'm saying? She don't know what he was shot by.
I think actually recently a YouTuber actually set up Valhalla steel cages and shot it and it went through. So under no circumstance will I.
So at least not a 30-06.
Definitively not. A
Okay,
30-06 low C, 150 feet. No.
But you're not necessarily closing off the avenue that he could have been shot at all.
With maybe a smaller
Caliber. Okay. And then there's some things that I'm going to make concessions on that I do think we need more answers on, and I'm fine with that. And we can get to those things as well. The other thing
Let's get to it.
Timeline. One of the things that we dispute, I think, on the timeline is that you think that Robinson drove hours away to a steakhouse in the timeline. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the compelling evidence that you think you have there?
I spoke to the owner of the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen the receipts. I know the conversation that I had, and I think it's enough that it will be presented. Obviously, if this goes to trial, but yes, I do believe that he was in Panguitch, which is near his grandparents' home.
Did he give you an unedited copy of that receipt?
I have seen an unedited copy of that receipt. It was not given to me from the owner. But I want to, before we get into all the timeline stuff, I want to address what you think is evidence so we can keep this on par with what your claim is.
Well, I think that's a piece of evidence in dispute, and that's why I'm.
Yeah, but we're trying to get to whether there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson did this.
Yeah,
rather than
use
starting
if you want to use the first part of that for the internal critique.
Yeah, let me just go over the actual evidence that we feel.
The first reason that I think it's compelling evidence is that Tyler Robinson's rifle was found near the crime scene. So I would consider that to be very good evidence. And also the fact of the matter is that I dispute this claim that a 30-06 could not have made this wound. I think that that's absurd. 150 grain Remington core locks absolutely could shatter when it hits the neck of any human being. When you say that there's some steel neck and it's a smaller caliber, you have to make a counter explanation. Why wouldn't a smaller caliber also go through bow?
It could. I didn't say it can't.
Right, exactly. So if that's the case, then ammunition is going to be the critical key here. And if we have frangible ammunition, which we do in this case, a flex tip round, not a flex tip, a soft point round from 150 grain Remington core lock, that's just a small jacket that goes around the actual lead piece. This thing could have split apart in air for all we know. But definitely upon impact, and we have a medical examiner who confirms this in a summary. My team can bring that up to summarization, which means he would have to be a part of some kind of conspiracy as well.
Okay, so just to start with your point about saying that the gun was found near him.
I think they both have somewhat conspiracy theories. You know what I'm saying? It seems like they both have somewhat of an imagination towards this reality. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think there's concrete facts on both stances so far.
As with your expertise, when she gave testimony on the stand, Samantha Carner, that there was dust and there was debris that was found in the gun barrel. And then when we had the person who, and this was, I believe, Caitlin Oliver, who explained painfully about the DNA, the prints.
Well, let's start with the
No,
point.
I'm not done. You said something, so I'm going to finish my thought, right?
You don't want to do a point at a time?
No, well, sure. If you want to respond to it, I want you to respond to 2 points. I want you to start with 2 points.
Okay.
Dust and debris in the gun barrel.
Yeah.
Secondly, the fact that there were 5 sets of prints, 5 plus actually in the testimony, 5 sets of prints for which we already had the woman who worked for the FBI forensics testify that above 2 prints, if you're taking a sample, it's no longer science, right? She testified that when they took the sample of what was on the trigger, they saw 5 plus prints, and among those 5 plus prints, Tyler Robinson's was the most degraded. So I would like you to explain how Tyler Robinson's prints could be the most degraded when she said, actually, you could have DNA on, you could have DNA on something that you've never touched. And to get DNA degradation, they've looked at pieces, items 20, 40 years on that don't have degradation. Yet Tyler Robinson's prints, amongst 5 plus other prints, were the most degraded on that weapon.
Yeah. So let's get into all 3 of the claims. First, with debris. When it comes to debris, firing a rifle doesn't always blow the debris out of the barrel.
Okay. You think there could be debris and dust.
Yeah.
He just fired the weapon. Okay.
None of that, he left it in the forest. Now, I don't know if you agree with me, but if you leave a rifle in a wooded area, it's also possible that debris get in that way. But I'm not even sure that that's what the case is. I think it's far more likely that you fired a shot and just didn't blow up debris out, and it often doesn't. You'll find this if you take Grandpappy's dirty rifle and it's all dusty inside the board and you go fire it. You'll often look down the board and there's still dust.
Okay.
Happens all the time.
Okay. And the prints?
Yeah, so the prints, we don't know all the details on just yet.
We do. It was excruciatingly long testimony on the prints.
We don't, because they haven't gone trial, so we don't know on the print front. But Tyler Robinson's DNA was on there. You made the claim that Lance Twig's DNA was on there, and it was not.
Well, when she gave the testimony, hold on. First, let's go to your first point, because that's wrong. We can get a fact check on that. What do you mean we don't know until it goes to trial about the degraded prints? She testified, and this is the person who took the prints.
Yes, but the problem is that inside of this particular testimony, you agree with me that there's going to be much more of the DNA analysis on the trial, right?
But you also would agree that her fact is not going to change, that among the prints, his was the most degraded. So I'm asking you to address that. How could that be possible?
Let's give it, let's just grant this for a second as a possibility that his fingerprints were degraded.
It's not a possibility, it's a fact. The person who took it.
I'm just granting it for the sake of argument.
You should grant it because it's a fact.
Okay, so now it's granted. So what?
What do you mean, so what?
So what? What does that prove?
It proves that if his prints were the most degraded amongst 5 of them, you're going to have to explain how that's possible if he's the one that recently fired the weapon.
Yeah, so wait a second. You're saying that it's an impossibility that if his fingerprints are the most degraded.
I'm telling you to explain it. You're the gunsmith.
Well, wait a second. How would a gunsmith give an analysis on fingerprints or DNA? Do you think that I work in a DNA laboratory?
Your answer is I don't know. You can just say you don't know. You don't have to.
But I did.
No, you said so what?
Yeah,
so say I don't know. I actually don't have an explanation for that, Candace.
Well,
I think that what it would prove is that it is a more viable theory that people who had stronger prints on the gun may have used it more recently.
Did they say who else had fingerprints on the gun?
They named Matt Robinson explicitly. And this was a part of the testimony where she was speaking about how they got samples of elimination samples from the home of Amber Robinson, Matt Robinson, and Lance Twiggs. Those are the 3 names they named.
So you're saying that Twiggs?
Would you like me to finish my statement?
I just want to make sure I'm clarifying.
I'm trying to finish the answer, but it can't be clarified until the answer comes out of my mouth.
Okay,
so this was a portion of her testimony where she was explaining how they got elimination samples from the home. And she named Matt Robinson, Amber Robinson, and Lance Twiggs as the elimination samples that she was using. And so she explicitly said, some of them, so we can assume 2 out of 3, were their prints were found on the gun. She explicitly named Matt Robinson as someone who had prints on the gun, and then said there were 5 people that they had taken that sample from. And again, what's also relevant here is the earlier testimony, which came from the FBI forensics analyst, I believe it was on day 2, where she said that when you're using those mixtures and those samples and you get up to 5 plus, it's really hard to make any sort of a determination. So both of those things are relevant. If you can't explain why his prints are the most degraded and you're saying he is the shooter, it's not really a so what. It's an open-ended question that people have a right to pursue. It's not a conspiracy. It's actually proof of my claim that there's evidence that he was set up as a patsy.
That wouldn't.
All right, man, we're gonna leave it right there. You know what I'm saying? Start off a little slow, you know what I'm saying? But are y'all more convinced that Tyler Robinson was the shooter, or do y'all still have questions? You know what I mean? We're gonna have to make a part 2 to this, because this is like a 4-hour debate, you know, apparently. So we're gonna have to break this down a little bit. So, you know, that was the part 1. Y'all go ahead and let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. I'm curious of y'all thoughts, you know what I'm saying? So after hearing both sides, are y'all convinced that Tyler Robinson was a shooter, or, you know, who's winning the debate so far? Candace Owens or Andrew Wilson? Who sounds like more logical, making more sense towards their point? And like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the vibe.
I'm that nigga.